All right. Kirill Kaprizov says no to a record contract. Could he be seeing his way out of the Central? One can hope. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Zach Pearson. Thank you for tuning in, making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. And if you want to get in on the conversation, then join our subtext. Link is in the show notes below. Chat with Zach and I one-on-one. Get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, and we share it on this very podcast. On today's episode, we figured it's a little slow moving in the news today outside of this Kaprizov stuff, which is really nothing. Well, I was going to say nothing, not nothing to do with the Avalanche. Could be something, but we'll see. But we figured why not to get to know our very own newly minted host, Zach Pearson, Mr. Xavier Superfly over here. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But I thought we should talk about this Kirill Kaprizov stuff, because you did get Frank Seravalli in the afternoon kind of put up a post stating that Kaprizov said no to a record contract, an 8-year max contract at $16 million AAV, which equates to $128 million. And you had said, or you had heard that that's where they were going to be around, and the Wild were willing to go this high. Didn't really seem like it was a question that they were going to offer him a ton of money. You didn't really hear the Kaprizov side of it, and if he was going to say no to it. I do want to say there is maybe conflicting reports on if he actually did say no to this. But technically we're still in the off season, and when stuff like this happens, we're going to talk about it. So first, let's start there with if in fact he did say no to this. What do you think the mindset is of Kirill Kaprizov and now the Minnesota Wild?
I think so for Kirill, and probably for the Wild as well. I think they're looking at, kind of as we discussed with the contracts for Necas and Makar coming up. I think that he's looking at percentage of the cap and that cap going up. And 16 million AAV is about 15% of the upcoming cap increase, but you got to figure it's only going up from there. And in 8 years, it's going to be a heck of a lot less than 15%. And I think he's trying to plan, if this is true, and I'm going to put a big if there because I don't know that this is actually true anymore, but he's got to be planning for his future, being like, I know that I'm worth more than that. And if I'm Minnesota, can you front load that so much and pay that high of a percentage? Like, just to start? He's really good. You don't want to let him walk,
he's awesome.
But
he's awesome. Yeah. So he's got to know, like, oh yes, in year 8, like where the cap is going to be, I'm going to be nowhere near 20% of the, like, he's got to know that. So I think it's more of, like you're saying, like the front load, maybe like years 1 and 2, he wants to be as high as possible. By that 20%. And like you said, because it is around 15%, there's 5% to work with there. Maybe that's the way that he's thinking of, maybe I don't need the full 5%, but maybe give me another percentage point or 2 or 3. But does that hamstring the Wilds? Who knows? But my question is, like, if you do get an extra, if you go up to 17 million over the course of 8 years, that's an extra $8 million, right? And is that NHL contracts are fully guaranteed? So if you sign a $128 million contract, you are making $128 million.
Yep.
Why is that not enough, bro? Like, so if you get, an extra $1 million per year, so is 136, is that enough to live on? So the 128 is not, I can't, my family's going to be starving, but give me 136 and I'll be okay. And oh, by the way, the contract that he's coming to an end with was a 5-year contract at $9 million. So he's already was going to have $45 million in the bank already tacked onto this 128. So tacked on to all the endorsements that he probably gets, especially overseas.
Yeah.
So like that's the confusing part for me is like it's not the money thing. I think it's a stature thing for him to want to be the highest paid, and maybe, and I'm just talking myself into that. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not so much, the percentage for the Wild. Maybe he wants that title of highest paid player in the league for more than one season for some reason, because it's going to get outbid eventually, maybe in year 2 or year 3 of that. But maybe he wants to play hardball and be, hey, give me like 18.5 because it might be 2 or 3 years before somebody surpasses that thanks to the cap. He's going that route. I don't want to put like Kirill Kaprizov on the spot and call him like greedy or anything like that, because I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know. But just the optics of this, once in my life, Zach, once in my life, I would like someone to come to me and offer me $128 million. And I say no. I will never be in that position. So maybe I'm not understanding fully.
So I think light bulb went off when you said that, right? I really do think, because Nathan MacKinnon, when he signed the 12.6, he was the highest paid player for a month, and then somebody signed to 12.7, or it was something like that. Maybe
no,
it was
he had
contract.
it for a year, but it got it was either Matthews or Draisaitl
almost
overtook
right away, though. It just felt like it was.
It was, but their contract was an extension, so it didn't kick in until the next year. So he was the highest paid player for a full season. Yes.
Okay.
But just one season.
But I still remember it was, but it was still like the new contract was signed. It didn't take effect, but that's what it was. It was signed like almost immediately afterwards,
right,
for like 100,000 more than what MacKinnon made or whatever it was. And it was like, that very well could be it. It could not be this is about dollars in the bank. This is about like flexing and showing that I am the best, or the highest paid player, and this is my claim to that piece. I don't know Kirill personally, so I have no idea, but I know that athletes, especially professional ones, they are competitive people. They don't want anybody else being better than them, and that's a distinct possibility, man. Like, I could absolutely see a pro guy being like, nope, that's what this is. I'm number one, and I will be number one.
For multiple years, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, you got to know that it's going to get overtaken at some point. And we don't know. Like, maybe if he's saying no to 16, that's all we got right now. And we're going to the extreme of like, oh, he wants 18, 19. He could maybe want 16.5, and they're just $500,000 apart from it. Like, we don't know. But let's go even further. And, we were saying this last year. You can't imagine Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen not playing for the Avalanche. And look how that happened.
Yeah.
Because that happened, and anything's on the table for me right now, man. Like, do I still think Kaprizov will sign? I do. I always feel like those guys, because they get that extra year, they're established there. I always feel like that is the most likely scenario. But when it happened with Mikko, now I'm of the mind of like, hey, nothing is ever going to be 100%. So who knows? Like, if this thing keeps going and going and going and goes down the road of another Mikko Rantanen story, does Minnesota do what the Avalanche did and be like, hey, let's ship him east?
Yeah. Only for him to get turned around and sent right back to the Central Division anyway, apparently. But
to Colorado. Imagine that. Imagine if the Avalanche pull us Dallas Stars and Minnesota ships them out east, and that team can't sign them, and the Avalanche say like, we'll take them in. Imagine if that happens.
That would be
wow.
The odds of that have to be very just astronomical. But oh my gosh, that would be just insanely cool to see happen. Because then it's actually benefiting us instead of directly hurting us.
Right.
It is crazy too to think like, I mean, Minnesota is still rebuilding, but they seem to be on a positive trajectory. And so the only other thought I had, right, was maybe he doesn't want to sign there because he doesn't see championship contention for him. But he's young, and an 8-year contract to build around him feels to me, on the trajectory they're on, they start to go into contention. So I don't think it can be that. It has to be something else should this report turn out to be true. It's wild to think, like, just man, I wish I was talented enough, like you said, to say, no, I'm
No,
okay on $128 million.
right,
I'll pass.
right. But I think we're we're going to the extreme of, worst case scenario,
Yeah.
right? And this is what happens. Negotiations happen. It goes back and forth. So maybe nobody's panicking right now. I don't think anybody's panicking right now. I just think it's high profile player, a ton of money, and he said no. So now we're
Yeah.
all in the mode of he's gone. He's
It
gone.
is
He doesn't want to play there.
speculation time.
Oh, huge,
Yep.
massive. And the other thing with this is, I think you touched on it, was what this number has a trickle down effect
100%.
to all of these other, to even McDavid,
Mm-hmm.
to Cale Makar next year, to Martin Necas this year. So it's not just the Wild and Kaprizov making a deal here. It's everybody else just kind of like sitting with their arms folded and being like, if you guys can finish this up, we can get to work too.
Yeah.
So we'll see where this goes, but it's early. But I think because of what happened with Mikko last year, if this keeps going into the season, the whole conversation across the league is going to be comparing it to the Mikko Rantanen situation, and the pressure is going to be on Minnesota to get this done so they don't have an Avalanche situation. And who knows if we'll get there. This could get signed tomorrow, but it happened to one superstar last year. It does not mean it can't happen again.
Exactly. That's a great point there. A year ago, I would have said there's no chance something like this happens. And now that we're sitting here with the Mikko deal happening and everything going down the way it did, I don't know. I have no idea if Kirill leaves Minnesota, and what a just blow to that team it would be.
Huge. Go check out Seth and Locked On Wild, because I know he's already got an episode up about this. So he's obviously way more in the know with the behind the scenes stuff with Minnesota Wild than we are. We're just on the surface guys when it comes to that team. So on the surface, I'm smiling a little bit. A little bit. We got a long way to go, but we'll see where it does go. All right, let's get our first break in, and we come back. We got some questions for our own Zach Pearson and some chiming in from our subtext people as well. And we'll do all of that coming up next. Let's hear from FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you are ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So if you want to bet on those Denver Broncos, the 2.5-point spread is still the spread against the Indianapolis Colts. Throw that on there, and if that thing wins, $300 in your account in the form of bonus bets that you can use anywhere on FanDuel. So download the app now by visiting FanDuel.com and get started. Once again, it's FanDuel.com. Place that first $5 bet today. All right, so why not get to know our brand new co-host here, Mr. Zach Pearson, a little bit more when it comes to, well, we got some questions here from the subtext people, and they, there are mostly Avalanche related. Some are not, which is also important to find out about you outside of the hockey world. So, you got some from Madam Battle actually around out there. Vargar did too. So we'll get those. We'll save those for later. But I think the main question, whenever you talk to anybody about sports and their favorite team, it's almost always followed up with like, oh, who's your favorite player? Mm-hmm. And I did get that question asked of you in two forms, basically. Who's a current favorite player on the Avs? And who is your all-time favorite player from the Avalanche?
These are both excellent questions. Current player on the Avalanche, my favorite is Logan O'Connor. It has to be Denver guy, goes to DU, comes into the Avalanche, makes a huge impact on this team just all the time. He is an effort guy. He is a top end bottom six guy. But it doesn't matter where you put him in, right? And you watch him out there, just the way he plays, the energy, the intensity, all of it. I mean, sometimes when he's skating down the ice, you're like, is that McKinnon? Nope, that's
Yeah.
LOC. Oh my goodness, that guy has
Yep.
got some anger and some speed behind him. So the shorthanded goals, all of it. And I, as you know, anybody who knows me knows I am a very big Colorado guy. So I love a hometown story.
Sure.
And a DU graduate that makes it to the Avalanche and plays the way he did and does and gets to win a Stanley Cup, he's got to be on my list there.
All right.
I mean, pretty easy for me to go with like a Landeskog, who I love, or a McKinnon or a Makar, and all of those are great choices, but I got to go LOC just for the whole Colorado connection.
Makes total sense. What about overall in the entire history of the Avalanche?
All time, I feel like it's going to sound like a little bit of a cop-out to start, but I do have some reasons behind it, and that's going to be Patrick Waugh. The reason being is not like, I mean, obviously there's the obvious. He's arguably, and probably more than arguably, the best goaltender to ever play the sport. He completely changed the game. He did everything, like all the stuff that he did, amazing, right? But part of the reason why is I remember being like 7-ish, 8-ish, all the way up, and then into like my 10-year-old year when they won the cup the second time. And like that's when I first started paying attention. I started to like recognize player names and stuff. That the Broncos had just won 2 Super Bowls. So like I'm starting to get more into sports and everything's kind of building up as I get older and recognize things. And my stepdad was the one who was really kind of pushing hockey at the time. He's like, hey, check this out. And he's the one who's like showing me some of these things. I got to watch some games with him. And I realized that our goaltender's name was the same name as my stepfather. And for whatever reason, that just like clicked right there. And I was like, Patrick Waugh, that's my favorite because Patrick is that's my guy. And so
that's a good connection.
Shout out to my stepdad for giving me the Patrick Waugh as my favorite all-time Avalanche. Big shout outs though to Milan Hajduk and Tyson Barrie, and John Michael Lyles.
Okay.
Tyson Barrie I just really liked, but John Michael Lyles and Milan Hajduk, I really like both of them because they both helped my daughter learn how to skate and signed her jersey. So
look at
that's
that.
pretty cool too. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. And quickly, any like a favorite non-Avalanche player?
See, that one's really tough. Like I have such a hard time picking a player to go for. I think, well, no, and now he's an Avalanche. I was gonna actually say Brent Burns, but now he's an Avalanche, and I like that works that way.
Okay.
But the beard, the missing teeth, all of that stuff. He's kind of a wicked awesome. So I guess actually I'll go Lundqvist. I think I'll go King Hank for that one.
Oh, yeah, he's one of mine.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, dude's just awesome.
Awesome.
Yep.
And amazing hair.
Perfect hair.
Any superstitions you have, whether just in general or, game day leading up to the game or while watching the game, anything like that you do repetitiously?
Cannot have anything to drink that's not Colorado. So if it's not made in Colorado, I don't drink it during the games. That goes for Broncos games too.
Really?
So I take it back. I will have outside of the state stuff, but there has to be a Colorado made beverage during the game. It has to happen. It's usually what I have first.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's just something that kind of clicked with me one day. I was watching a game. They weren't doing well. I think I had a Sam Adams beer or something, and then I went and I grabbed a Great Divide. And I crack open the Colorado beer. I take a sip of it, and all of a sudden they score. And then they score again.
Done.
And then they score again. And since then, it's just been like, well, yeah, I got to have a Colorado beverage. And that's probably the only one. I feel like there's some other things, but they kind of rotate year to year. Like, hey, this is working for me this year, so I'm going to do it. And then next year, it doesn't work the same, so I let it go. It's, probably talk to my wife. I'm sure I do stuff that I don't even realize I do.
That's so true. Oh, that is so true. Yeah. But I like that. That is, and it's, the only reason they scored that many goals is totally because you cracked open the
switch to the Great Divide. Yep.
The 100%. Only reason.
Would have lost that game otherwise.
I threw this out to subtext people, with the whole superstition thing, and there's some interesting ones. Mark says, I think he meant just this one before, because we talked about superstitions a little while ago. He said, any meal or restaurant we dine at on the day of a loss will not be eaten at or made at home the rest of the season.
Interesting. Okay.
There's a lot of food related ones. People always, and it's a drink.
Yeah.
You're relating a drink. There's a lot of food related ones. He also says we must have our burgundy Avs flag flying for home games and the white and blue flag for road games. If they lose, that flag will fly until they win again. We also have an alternate flag for the division games. So they are
interesting.
Set.
So real quick interjection. My father is a super hardcore Broncos fan. He will only wear the jersey that matches the jersey the Broncos are wearing. So he's got all the colors. If it's an away game and they're doing white, that's what he wears. So very similar to that subtexter there who says they've got the away flag, home flag. Yeah. So I can totally appreciate that. And I think it does help. I don't know why. It does.
Of course it does. Maurice sent in a comment, and it's about the wave. Do you have a aversion to the wave during a hockey game? Because a lot of people have thoughts on this.
I don't. I feel like I should hate it because that seems like the hockey fan thing to hate.
Right.
But you watch all the families there and they're all having fun and they're enjoying it. I like it better when it's done when, we're winning. I don't like when it gets started when we're not winning, but I don't have a problem with it going when the team's up.
Because she says if you have to do the wave, and then she says, hint, you don't, only do it if it's in the last half of the third period and you are ahead by 4 or more goals.
Ooh, she's specific.
Never in the first 2 periods. The hockey gods hate it, and they will smite you for it. So I'm with you. Like it's it's for the kids.
Yeah,
for the kids. I had one person, I can't remember who this was, say, do it in like an avalanche form, like start from the top of the arena and go down.
That'd be cool.
I don't know how you coordinate that, because usually when you're coordinating the wave, it just starts in like one section and everybody just kind of gets it going. So that would be difficult to coordinate, but that would be cool. That would be a cool looking wave. That'd be different. It'd be very different. Is there another one? Adam said something with the jerseys. But that was another question. Do you have any, is there like a way that you pick your jersey or whatever clothing you're going to wear for said game? Hold on to that one.
Okay.
We'll get our last break in, and then we'll get his answer to that one. And then the all important Star Wars question.
Of course.
So we'll get to that next. Let's hear from Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, and whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives, and if you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you, because it does all the heavy lifting, and you can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorizations of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That is 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Once again, that code is LOCKEDONNHL. All right, so let's get back to some questions so we can get to know Mr. Zach Pearson a little bit better. There was a question that was about game day clothing, and do you have any? Some people are saying about the jerseys. You mentioned who was it?
My dad. Yeah,
your father. Okay, so he does that. I think Adam says that my superstition starts with what jersey I wear for each game. If we win that game, I will continue to wear that jersey for every game until they lose. And he also doesn't wash that jersey. Okay.
Fun.
Don't spill anything on that.
No kidding.
And then the next is a playoff beard. Even though he can't really grow a beard, just the goatee. Doesn't have to shave at all. So yeah, you always get the beard thing too. But clothing, stuff like that. Do you have a ritual for picking what you're going to wear for a game day?
It has to be Avalanche. So like my job, I can't wear a jersey to work. It's just not allowed. So
Okay.
I've
Not even on
got some,
Fridays? You have like casual
no,
Friday or anything?
nothing.
No?
Nope.
All right.
Nope. They're
All
pretty
right.
sticklers at my full-time job for that.
All right.
So, but any game day, it's always an Avalanche polo, and I've got a handful of those. Or if it's like, especially if it's a colder day, I'll throw like a flannel on with an Avalanche t-shirt underneath it. As far as which one I choose, and then when I get home before the game, it's always switched to a jersey.
Okay.
This is going to be, thankfully, my wife doesn't like podcasts, so I don't think she listens too much because she hates this word. I'm a total vibes guy when it comes to which one I choose. It's open up the closet, check them out, and I'm like, you know what? I'm getting that vibe from this one today. This is the one that gets to go on, and that's how I choose my jersey every time.
Okay.
On the beard front too, I
Yeah.
don't shave. So my superstition, and this has worked for this. I started this the year they won the cup in 22. The moment they qualified, the moment they clinched a playoff spot, I stopped shaving.
Okay.
So, I mean, that was obviously a little bit before the playoffs started.
Yep.
And so started there and then all the way through and grew it out. It's patchy. I look like I have mange. It's absolutely horrible, but I bear it all the way through just to make sure that I'm giving everything that I can.
Solidarity, baby. Yep. Vargar's got a couple questions for you. That's what your favorite childhood player was, and I think you answered that with Patrick Waugh.
Yep.
Obviously. More importantly, if you could get into a fight with one historical figure, who would it be?
So this one was this is an interesting one. I think my choice for this is going to be Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, one of the emperors of Rome. And here's the reason why. Like, I have his book, The Meditations, and I like reading it. I really like the Stoic philosophy and all of that stuff. But also, like, he was one of the last great emperors of the golden age of Rome, and his son takes over and begins the decline of Rome. So I'd love to, like, and I'm going to bring this back into kind of a nerdy thing, and we talked a little bit about this off camera, but in the most recent God of War game, he works through all of his like mental anguish, all of his everything that he has by fighting. Like through fighting, he learns more about himself. I feel like if you could physically fight Marcus Aurelius but talk to him at the same time, you could learn so much about yourself and everything else. I think that would just be such an enlightening experience. So I think it would just be really cool.
So if you were around during that time, the fall of Rome might have never happened, is what you're saying?
Yes, that I definitely would have single-handedly saved Rome.
Wow. Imagine where you would be today.
Learned. I think I would have just learned a lot. I don't think I could have saved it, but it just seems like, because, he's leading an insane military and economical power, and he's one of the last great rulers to do it. He had a ton of Stoic philosophy, so I feel like you would learn how to fight better, because I don't think I'm a great fighter, probably. Never been built for it. And I think I'd learn that, and I'd just learn more in general. So I think that's a cool one. That would be my historical figure pick.
That is a road we have never been down on this podcast before. I really appreciate that. Vargar also asked, if you had Superman type powers, what would you do with them?
I'd be Superman. Like very, very straight up, very boring. I'd just be the typical hero, comic book, good guy, save the people, stop the evil, make sure everybody's protected. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I could do anything other than that with it. It's like
not one specific thing.
No.
My issue with Superman, like people that know me, like I'm more of the Marvel guy. And that was the fun thing with Kyle, was like Kyle was the DC guy, I was the Marvel guy, and we'd have arguments about that. Okay. I like with Superman, like I just feel like they invent powers for him. It's like he will never die, because it's like, oh, if someone comes up with this brand new thing that could kill Superman, oh no, you didn't know this, but he already had this inherited in him, and he can combat that, and he won't die.
See, and I don't know enough about most of the comic book heroes. I'm not a Marvel or a DC guy. I'm a Spider-Man guy. That's the one that I like. That's just my favorite one for sure.
You're a Rome guy, is what you are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Madam Battle Axe has a couple questions for you. One, I threw it out to you before we recorded, and you were like, you were 10 years old when the 90s ended, because she wanted to know, are you able to make any conversations about the 90s? What was your favorite thing about the 90s?
The Mummy.
I mean, for me, it was the grunge era. That the best music decade ever. and it was the grunge era of music. But you remember anything about the 90s?
The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser movie, The
Oh,
Mummy.
the movie The Mummy?
Yep.
All right.
I mean, that's still to this day one of my favorite movies. I'll throw that
Yeah.
one on just for fun all the time.
Right.
No, I barely remember anything about the 90s. Like my memories really start building in the early 2000s.
Yep.
I can talk a little bit of Broncos football. I remember Steve Atwater. I remember Trell Davis. I can talk a little bit of Avalanche hockey in kind of the same vein, right? Like I remember Milan Hajduk. I remember Joe Sakic. I remember all these things happening, but not with like vivid, strict memories, and definitely nothing pop culture. Because, yeah, I played a lot of video games when I was a kid, and I
Yep.
played a lot of pickup football outside and street hockey, and that was
Okay.
really what I did growing up.
All
So,
right.
I don't remember much of the 90s.
Well, you're gonna have to think back to when you were not even born for her very last question, and it's the most important one: Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back?
Empire. It's not a debate for me. It's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I like Return too. I'm not one of
Oh,
those
yeah.
ones. It's like, oh, I had no problem with all the little Ewoks. I had no problem with all that
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
being added in. I thought it was perfectly fine. And I was a kid, so I was kind of the age they were going for. But Empire
Yes.
Strikes Back is the best movie of the original trilogy by far. You have the reveal, and spoiler alert, him being Luke Skywalker's father, in case you
You
haven't
just
seen
ruined
the
it
movie.
for so many people. It's amazing.
But like that reveal happening, it had this like nice tone. It was just a little bit darker than the original Star Wars, and it was definitely darker than Return of the Jedi. And it's like the bad guys almost win through that movie, which you didn't see very often, but it set
No.
it up so it wasn't a permanent win. It just, everything about that really stuck with me. So yeah, Empire's
you.
got to be the one.
You said it like, you were like and I was the same way. Like you were the audience for Return of the Jedi at a certain age, because that one was more kid friendly, not just the Ewoks, but it was just a little bit more action packed.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it was along the way, but like when you just get older, you kind of like look at movies differently. And then I watched like Empire for the 100th time, for something like clicked one year, and I'm like, this is just a well directed and acted movie.
Yeah.
Where it's just the sci-fi just happens to be a part of it, but it's just an excellent movie. They all are. But I'm with you on that. It changed to when you get older. I just think like you appreciate how Empire is filmed a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And that one's a favorite. So hopefully I did not offend the person whose name is Battle Axe, because that scares me a little bit. But
yeah. And I don't know what her answer is to that. I kind of give me your answer to that, Madam Battle Axe, because I don't know if you're happy with his response of Empire or if you're a Jedi woman. So let me know. But
I am curious. I need to see that answer. Comment, please let me
know. All right. We'll get that answer. All right, everyone. That's going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Anything else going on in Avalanche world or anything else going around the league, we'll be talking about that on tomorrow's episode. So make sure you tune into that. But for this, thank you for tuning into this one and making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. For Mr. Zach Pearson, I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see everybody tomorrow, where you will have made it through another 24 hours. Sidney Crosby is that much closer to being the Colorado Avalanche.